WWE Evolution happened tonight, but it wasn't just the evolution of the women's division in the WWE, it was the advancement, showing that they could stand on their own on its own PLE tonight, but not just that, with relying on stars of the years past, relying on modern day stars to carry into the future. We got a lot tonight we're going to talk about. I'm your host, Bryan, the Hype Ballard, back at it again with Tap Out Talk. We are going to go into, we had a new champion crown tonight, a very surprising, shocking ending to the WWE main event, where Naomi did cash in her Money in the Bank briefcase in order to claim the top of the throne of the Monday Night Raw women's division. Also, speaking of that, we got a Battle Royal winner with Stephanie Vaquer also making a name for herself, and lots of other stars. There's one young star that definitely, shined as well and did exactly what she needed to do. We'll talk about that. But without further ado, let's get in. And first up, we have the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. A feud that's been going back and forth, a rivalry, a friendship. It's been a little bit of everything. I'm not talking about Bayley and Becky, but I'm also talking about Lyra Valkyria being tied into the mix, going against her mentor-mentee type relationship. But Becky Lynch has been on fire since she's won the Intercontinental Championship, and this was a great match just to kind of showcase the skills of all three ladies. Also, like psychology put into it, Lyra Valkyria being in a opening Intercontinental match on this show with two greats like Bayley and Becky Lynch also helps solidify her a little bit in our minds as being on the same level as these three. And I will say all the ladies didn't disappoint in this matchup. A lot of good back and forth. But in the end, it was Becky Lynch getting the win as the man, can we still call her the man, goes and gets the Intercontinental Championship defeat, winning after a pinfall with a backslide on Bayley, getting the quick win, retaining the Intercontinental Championship. Then we got the NXT Women's Championship also on the line being showcased on the show tonight. And why not? This is the women's pay-per-view. JC Jane, the champion, defended against Jordynne Grace for that NXT Women's Championship. A little back and forth, a lot of good showcasing skills. Jordynne Grace just always impresses me in the ring when she's able to show up and attend a PLE. They've had her signed for quite a while now, and this is, we've gotten to see her on a PLE for, a long time, I believe since Rumble. But ultimately, JC Jane does win by pinfall with the rolling elbow, retaining the NXT Women's Championship. Also, post-match, Monroe basically turns very cold and expressive. The former Mariah May from AEW fame, as she then returns the belt to JC Jane before walking off, putting a finger to her mouth on the way out of the ring, betraying Jordynne Grace. Playing into that, and that will be a definite, future on NXT land as Mariah May, or Monroe, I should say, Blake Monroe, ultimately will be going against Jordynne Grace for future programs to come up. Maybe even a little match at SummerSlam between the two. Guys, hit that like button. Helps it if you like wrestling, and it also helps the wrestling community just thrive. Appreciate you guys. Let's go ahead to the next matchup, which was our tag team women's championship matchup. Correctly predicted, I did say that ultimately the champions would retain. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez getting the championship reign defended tonight. But there was a lot of good in the match. Zarya and Sol Ruca. Sol Ruca really showcasing her skills. I like them as a tag team, but I like Sol Ruca did exactly what she needs to do as the rookie, getting her first PLE on a major show, main event show. Showcasing her skills, showcasing with a great moveset. So definitely stood out to me tonight, and she stood out to me for a while. One of the reasons, like when I check in on NXT, she's one of those reasons I do check in on NXT. Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss having a fun tag team combination. The crowd really is enjoying Charlotte Flair. So much to the point they were chanting, "We want Charlotte, we want Charlotte." When's the last time we've heard that? I think her and Alexa Bliss are having fun. It does keep Charlotte out of the main event picture for the world title, which I think allows the fans to reconnect with her and also gives Alexa Bliss a little something to do. So I don't mind this temporary tag team, in this case, because I do believe it's going to lead to a fun storyline down the line. Kabuki Warriors did what they do as former champions. They did their job They didn't, overstay or overperform, but they did exactly what they needed to do. Everybody did in this matchup, but it was Raquel Rodriguez along with Judgment Day, or Roxanne Perez with Judgment Day, ultimately looking at the, win here, and they're not going to really, take those titles off them too much. It works too well. They are just forming as a tag team, and they got to make sure while Liv Morgan's out that everything is going great and according to plan, since Liv Morgan's spot was taken in this tag team. Next, we got the Women's Championship matchup, WWE. Tiffany Stratton, the champion, versus Trish Stratus. This, I feel like, was a, final championship match. It was the first singles match in about 18 months, I believe they said, for Trish. And Trish looked phenomenal in the ring, and she did exactly what a veteran should do, but she also gave us a good performance with Tiffany Stratton, looking very strong. I look now, Tiffany Stratton this year, since winning the championship against Charlotte Flair at Mania, has now beaten Trish Stratus. That's two, in my mind, Hall of Famers, that she has taken out this year. And this is the WWE building exactly what they need to do for the future of wrestling. They did it this weekend with Goldberg losing to Gunther. You can see that here on the channel. But also, they did it with Tiffany Stratton getting the nod over Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus got a moment in the ring afterwards with the crowd, going up to all four turnbuckles, just appreciating the moment, taking it and soaking it all in, as the Hall of Famer should be doing, and nothing to be ashamed of here in this matchup. Next up, we got the no holds barred matchup, Jade Cargill versus Naomi, with Bianca Belair as your special guest referee. I do have to ask, Bianca Belair did not seem to really add too much to the story, despite these three having a very, big history with each other. And I felt like there was a lot more to this feud, but we're moving in a different direction. You can see it based on how this pay-per-view or PLE ended tonight. But I will say Jade Cargill got the win. The WWE is still trying to build her up as the queen of the ring, getting the win over Naomi. Again, Bianca Belair felt just kind of thrown into this situation last minute with not really any impacts, being torn between her two friends and getting interference like we thought. But we do see that, Jade Cargill did get the win. A lot of Naomi's work made this match work very well. Naomi did a great job working with Jade, and great job of just kind of, taking pace of the match and making sure that things stay on track. And that's why she's, I believe, rewarded a little further. But we do have Jade Cargill getting the win with one big power move from the top rope at the end and getting the pinfall. A little distracting with the Slim Jim table. It always just distracts me when they throw stickers on things, and that's just the advertising is not going away, but the table just always seems so cheesy to me. That's not necessarily the talent's fault here, but it does take me out of the moment in a lot of these kind of matches. Next up, we got the women's Battle Royal match. We had a lot of great showcase of young talent. We got Nikki Bella in there for good measure, and Natalya, who I almost, they skipped a lot of the entrances during the Peacock commercials. So it took me a minute to really adjust to my TV to see who all was actually in this matchup. But as predicted, I said Stephanie Vaquer would be the right choice for this to get a title shot at Clash in Paris. You got the foreign aspect in addition to Stephanie Vaquer being an up-and-comer, and they are very big on her and her work. She's got a nice, theme song, a nice presence. And, we could have went with Julia as well, but she's already the United States champion. So, it wouldn't make too much sense for her to win and then get a title shot in the main title yet. She's got a lot of work to do still. And in good work with that title on the lower card. But chaotic brawling all throughout the match. We do get, some big moments. We do get a moment in the matchup where I was a little worried that Lash Legend was going to win. Lash Legend eliminating Nikki Bella, which was a shocker for me. And they were really playing up, the announcers, the fact that Lash Legend was a women's NBA or WNBA, standout. And I was a little worried that they were going to go with a push for Lash Legend here. And I just think that would have been a mistake, because you already have a very similar, Jade Cargill, like power, type wrestler going for a title shot at SummerSlam. And I just don't think it was on the cards for Lash Legend to pull out this win here tonight. And I did feel that it needed to go to somebody that was truly up and coming. And I know Stephanie Vaquer's got a lot of stuff going for her right now, and I think it is time to strike with her. Stephanie McMahon definitely endorsing this win as she's in the ring to interview Stephanie Vaquer at the end, and actually does a little bit in Spanish, just kind of carrying that World Wrestling Entertainment moniker to it. But again, Stephanie Vaquer winning, eliminating Lash Legend to earn the title shot. I would have liked to see this have a little more legends in it. We did get Nikki Bella coming back. I would have enjoyed seeing maybe some other talent in there. I would have enjoyed seeing, I mean, you know, guys know I would want to see Layla in there, of course, you know, because, you know, definitely I might be a little biased on that. But we could have seen some other legends of the past coming in. We could have seen a McCool reunion, or we could have seen a couple other things in there. But that's kind of the overall Battle Royal. I think it would have been fun to see even a Santina Marella. That's right, Santino's sister, if you guys remember. Santina would have been a fun one to see in a match return of this, just for a nice entertainment value. But maybe we can get that at Evolution 3. The WWE continues to do these PLEs. Guys, if you guys continue to like wrestling, check out the fans of ProWrestling.com, where we go over the Wrestling Fans Insight in addition to Tap Out Talk here. Always appreciate support. And let's get into the appreciation of the World's Women's Championship matchup. I went into the night thinking Io Sky would get the retention just because I felt that the moment was not going to be big enough for Rhea Ripley to regain her title. And when she does, it will be a big deal. But I didn't think tonight was going to be that moment because it needed to be bigger. These two had a rivalry and they had a story to tell. And they went into the ring back and forth. And at the middle of the ring at one point in the match, Rhea Ripley looks at Io and says, "I respect you." And Io says, "I respect you," and she says, "Let's fight," right? And then Warrior Spirit, like, they go and they battle it out, and it goes all over the place. Referee getting knocked down at one point. We get, you know, Rhea Ripley, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, could have gotten an 8 count easily, but there was no referee, and no referee in sight coming, no backup. And then we get to a point where Io Sky again gets her moonsault, and you think it's over just as the referee does get back into the matchup, but it's definitely not over. And Rhea Ripley kicks out at 2. Both of these women looking so strong. They even went out into the arena when the referee was down and beat up on each other and got a little hardcore action going on with, you know, no countouts since there was no referee. I like the storytelling by the commentators. But in the end, when it was just back and forth with no clear winner in sight and finishing moves exhausted like a WWE 2K match, and instead of rebuilding up, we had music hit and we got Naomi coming in to do a Money in the Bank cash-in, which was truly the most biggest surprise of the night and the surprise of the year for me so far, because, you know, we all thought Naomi would have her sights set on, you know, further development with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, but seemingly that feud is now over, and Naomi is going to be your world champion over on Monday Night Raw, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I think she deserves it. I think she's worked very hard for that title in that moment, and I could see these three in a triple threat rematch at SummerSlam with who knows what happens. But, you know, we do get a successful cash-in, and caution, there's a lot more entertainment coming with Naomi as your world champion. Trinity definitely deserves the work that she did and she put in, and I'm excited. And I like the fact that it walked away still making Io Sky and Rhea Ripley look strong in this feud. And I really appreciate the fact that they did not hurt anybody with this win, and everybody came out looking like a star. And guys, let's get into our final thoughts. Evolution 2, did it stay? Did it outperform? You guys support women's wrestling? If so, check it out. But Evolution 1 set the tone that women could get their own PLE and it could sustain itself. Evolution 2, though, did more. It didn't rely on stars of the past as much as Evolution 1, and it gave us a little bit more to talk about. I thought top to bottom there was a pretty good card there, and I don't think there was too many low points for me personally, but I do see, where do we go from here? I would like to see Evolution become an annual women's PLE, but with a little bit extra. I would like to see this actually placed in December, where we could have the Women's Royal Rumble match being featured at Evolution only. And that way we have the purpose with that Evolution in December, and then the Men's Royal Rumble in January, respectively, all leading to WrestleMania still. So guys, those are my final thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment down below or on Twitter at @Bryan Adkins. And I'm out.